you see that Spotify changed? They had that update.
It's dog shit.
You don't like it?
I don't like it.
I like it.
No.
A lot more.
Okay. The reason I don't like it, it's not that I think it's necessarily bad objectively, but it's bad for the way I use Spotify.
Okay.
Because it shows, it's like, okay, all your saved songs are in one playlist, and then you can browse your saved albums, but you cannot browse your saved artists. Like, you can't search your artists based on which ones you have saved. You can search your artists based on which ones you follow, and I don't follow anyone. I just save albums so that I can browse the artists later. So it's not necessarily the app design's fault, but it's just, okay, now I have to start following artists if I want to search by artist, or just continue using the regular search bar, which is fine, which is what I do most of the time anyways. But sometimes it's like, I don't know what I want to listen to, so I'll just scroll through artists. Yeah. And so it's like, I can't do that anymore unless I go through and actually follow all of them, which I probably should have been doing anyways. I know it's my fault, but at least for me, it was like, no, no.
Yeah. That seems like something that they may adjust later. It just seems like they may have just left out an artist option, which seems odd. Sure. So I'm sure if enough complaints happen, that would be, or just acknowledgement of it. It similarly affects me in that I usually just go through my recently played stuff. Yeah. Whenever you go to the library tag.
You don't really have that anymore.
You don't have that anymore either.
Yeah, which is like,
it's on your homepage. You can go to, there is a bar that says recently played in there.
But doesn't the homepage alternate constantly? Like, it always has different shit on there?
It did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be a more consistent thing now.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, because also with the like the daily mixes and stuff, I'll often pop those on. And that used to be, you'd go to library, and then above your playlist, it has made for you. And so I'd go to them right there because it is a playlist technically. But now you have to go to the search bar and then scroll down, and then there's the made for you section. Or sometimes it's on your home screen, but sometimes it's not. Okay. And it's just like, do you want me to listen to shit or not? Right. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
I haven't messed with that too much because I generally just listen to my playlist unless there's something new that somebody recommended to me that I've... Usually what I'll do is I'll just go play a song by that artist. Yeah. That way it's in my recently played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that'll happen for me too, because it's like, okay, I'll save an album. Like if you show me something while we're hanging out, I'll save the album. But I usually don't remember it. And so that's when I check my history, be like, oh yeah, this album. And so that's how I remember to go back and listen to it. But with that gone, it's like, I'm just going to forget a bunch of shit and just keep listening to stuff I've already listened to, which is what Spotify wants you to do because they've studied it and people tend to listen to stuff they're familiar with more than stuff that is new to them. Like you're less likely to skip a song that you've heard before. So they want you to stay on the platform and keep listening to stuff. So they want you to listen to stuff that you're already listening to and not necessarily discover stuff as often as they like to push. But that's a whole thing.
That's sort of rings true to me because I have a go-to playlist that I listen to, but I constantly update that playlist with anything that anybody recommends to me.
Right. Yeah. And again, I think that's kind of how they want you to use it as well. I just don't really, I have a playlist for my dad where I will just like anytime I encounter something that I think he would like, I would just toss a song and they'll be like, hey, check this out. And then I have a playlist of just full-length albums that are good No Man's Sky music. Okay, so I'll just, because I can pull it up on the PS4 really easily. But apart from that, I just don't really use playlists. I listen to entire albums. Like that's just how I've always
For sure, understandably so. One thing that they definitely got right was they super cleaned up the podcast page.
That was a much needed improvement. Yes. That is much better. I'll definitely give them that.
And I predominantly use Spotify for listening to podcasts.
Yeah, same.
So for me, whenever I saw the update, my immediate reaction was, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because at first it showed, it's like, hey, you can watch this little video to see how we updated stuff. It's like, all right, cool. So I watched that. Okay. And it's like, this is what the podcast thing looks like now. I'm like, that's way better. That is okay. At least they fixed the podcast thing. I'm still a little salty about the artist search thing, but one that could change. And also, I'm using the app in an atypical way. It's not really their fault, but not that I'm always in the interest of like giving mega corporations that are ruining the industry credit, but in this particular scenario, it's like, okay, they didn't really. That's really more of a me problem. Also, hey everyone, welcome to the podcast.
Oh yeah,
we went right in on Spotify talk. But yeah, this is episode 6. Yeah, but you had something else. It seemed like before I interrupted with the intro to the show. Okay, cool. Well, what did you like from this week?
Oh man, you know what? I should have thought before I sat down here.
No, can I be totally honest? I don't really have one prepared. I have things I don't like. I had a quippy, sarcastic answer planned, and then was planning on like this thing, but I didn't really have like one that I felt really strongly about. So you can just kind of go with whatever.
Sure. Why don't we start with you?
Okay.
So let's redo this, and I'm just gonna say. Okay. So, hey Cole, what did you do that you liked this week?
Yeah. So it was kind of a toss-up between Our Last Night, the band, and the kid concentration camps. Both are really awesome.
For sure.
They're really cool. I like them both a lot. No, I'm
equally
kidding.
As harmful.
I'm kidding. They're not concentration camps if they're not Jewish. It's not the same thing. It's not the same.
Exactly.
Things are trash right now.
Yeah.
It's not great all the time. It was kind of a bummer of a week, honestly. But you try to make it through as best as you can. Contact your representatives, let them know that you think concentration camps are bad, and if anyone tries to make a bullshit semantic argument with you claiming that they're not actually concentration camps, one, let them know that that's not what a smart person does, and second of all, also let them know that concentration camps and death camps are not necessarily the same thing. Right. Sort of like how all trucks are automobiles, but not all automobiles are trucks in the same way. Mm-hmm. All death camps are concentration camps, but not all concentration camps are death camps. There you go, kids. Have fun. But the thing I actually did genuinely like and wanted to talk about because I forgot to talk about it last time was ARMS. One of my favorite games on the Switch. It's the best fighting game that nobody's playing. So they had their last ARMS party crash this past week, or it was the weekend that we recorded the last episode, but it wrapped up on Monday at like 4 a.m. or something. I hadn't played ARMS in a minute, and if anyone doesn't know what their party crash is, if you're familiar with Splatoon, it's like their equivalent to a Splatfest. If all of that is nonsense to you, basically, so ARMS has been doing, for the past couple months, a really large-scale tournament for every character in the game to try and determine like what is the top ARMS character. And spoiler, it was the one that we knew was the best from day one, and that's Min Min, who has been my main, and she's great. Also the director of the game's favorite, just, in case anyone tries to claim, Ninjara, shut up, you're a dweeb. No, Ninjara's fine. Ninjara mains kind of suck, but it's fine. But yeah, it's just a super fun, like, kind of tournament style thing. So you get bonus points for playing as the selected character for that round. But there's all these really fun modifiers that they'll toss in every 15 minutes of online play. So it's like, one of my favorite ones is big time arms. So your arms get huge and they do 3 times the damage. And so
hell yeah.
It's really fun
big
because
arms.
Like, yeah, one, it looks hilarious. It's really funny. But like, the rounds are really short that way, so you can just get in a lot of them.
Right.
So that's always really fun. There's also like a one-hit wonder where it's a one-hit KO, so basically whoever lands the first hit wins. And then there's also bombs away, where like bombs will drop like every 5 seconds, so you're constantly avoiding bombs and stuff. There's tons of other ones, but it's just a fun way to vary up the gameplay. And it's already pretty varied because there are so many different types of matches you can have. So when you mix that in with all these different modifiers, like you get a lot of variation during the party crashes, and you get special badges and stuff for participating. But yeah, it was super fun. So it was the last one to kind of round out the special event support. So obviously you can still play ARMS and still play it online and everything, and I'm sure they'll continue to do like bug fixes and stuff as it goes along, but they're not going to do any more special events now. And kind of same with Splatoon. Next month they have the last Splatfest.
Okay.
But yeah, so ARMS is great. It is honestly like, I was thinking about it, and ARMS is really like an all-time favorite for me. Like, I really fucking love that game. Like, it is one I'm really, really into. Just because it is a lot like Mario Kart in that it is like one of the best of its genre, but it is also completely different from anything else in that genre. Because like, I think Mario Kart is the best arcade racer, period. But normally when you think of like an arcade racer, a lot of people would think like Need for Speed or even like the Burnout games. But it's obviously so
Crash Bandicoot
different.
Racing.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously kind of a Mario Kart clone,
Sonic Racing.
Yeah, also that. Like, kind of clones of Mario Kart. But nonetheless, like, Mario Kart is pretty different from a typical arcade racer because you're not using real cars, and it's meant to be even more unrealistic than the unrealistic nature of an arcade racer. Right. But because of that, it does everything it wants to do so well that, at least for me, it's the best one. And it's kind of the same with ARMS with arcade fighters. Like, obviously, ARMS is nothing like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or anything like that, but it does everything that it wants to do so well, and it has such a unique idea and unique execution that it fucking nails. And it's a pretty technical game too. But I just have a fucking blast playing it. And also, wouldn't you know it, it's done by the Mario Kart team, the director of Mario Kart 8. Also, his passion project was ARMS. That dude rules, and I really like the games that he heads up, and I'm really excited to see whatever he does next. It'll probably be Mario Kart 9, but I don't care. No, I fucking love Mario Kart. So
fun time.
So anything come to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
So do you want to?
Do you want me to phrase the question?
Yes.
Okay. Hey Scott. So what was something from this week that you enjoyed?
Your cute face.
Aw.
You didn't smile till you walked in the door today. No, I found this band called the Callous Dowboys.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Just some heavy, erratic, weird kind of metalcore.
Yeah. Do we know if they're actually from the Dallas area?
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't done too much research on them. I've just kind of been listening to some of the singles that they've released, watched some music videos, and I just really, really dug it. It was really fun stuff.
Yeah, so I think that the Callous Dowboys do kind of fall in line with hashtag 29 scene. In that, it not even necessarily the way they sound, which you do have that to an extent. It is definitely, to me, pretty reminiscent of the Chariot and just a lot of the erratic metalcore stuff we were listening to in the late 2000s. But
which I still love.
Yes. Oh, the Chariot fucking rips. But yeah, they it's the execution. Specifically, so we watched. They have 2 music videos out for songs from this most recent album, and they're very silly, very late 2000s sense of humor. It's just pretty tongue in cheek, pretty goofy.
Yeah, and I don't know if if you looked at some of the track titles from their full length album.
Yes, also very goofy ass song names.
Save a Horse, Ride a Dowboy, just goofy.
Of course.
Joyce Manor is in our related artists. Just goofy stuff. Definitely that early 2000s sensibility.
Yeah, because that was Devil Wears Prada always had those super long, convoluted, goofy song
maybe
names.
Even
kind of. I wouldn't say. I mean, they certainly weren't the first ones to do it, but they certainly popularized it among the Christcore crowd.
For sure.
Oh, Christcore. What would we do without you other than pretty much be fine?
Yeah, pretty much. Not a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, maybe it's the end times. Maybe it could be. All the exciting stuff is winding down. It's just terror all the time.
It could just be real bad from here on out.
Yeah, maybe there'll be nothing left to enjoy. No, that's not true. There's always room for optimism. There's going to be things to enjoy, and it's fine. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. You want to talk about Robbie Tripp?
Sure.
Okay. So Robbie Tripp, for anyone that doesn't know, we wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Whenever this thing first came out. Obviously, it would have been a few weeks delayed for you guys, so it's even longer now. But I still feel like that video hasn't gotten a ton of traction, so I still think it's relatively obscure. For I think this dude's initial incident made way more of a splash than this video.
Definitely.
But okay, so Robbie Tripp, if you're a Twitter fiend like we are, it's the curvy wife guy. But if anyone doesn't know who the curvy wife guy is, this dude, it was I think last year or maybe even 2 years ago at this point. But this dude made this Instagram post about his wife, and he was just actually, you know what? I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the post because it is something that if you haven't heard it, is just really potent and gross. And if you have heard it, you probably haven't heard it in a minute because I haven't. So, well, okay. So just before I get to the post, scrolling through his Instagram on March 15th, there was a paid advertisement with him and Family Guy or Fox because there's a picture of him and his curvy wife in the McFarlane art style.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, go to his Instagram is just at Tripp TRIPP. Just scroll, you'll see the Family Guy. You will see it. You will see the Family Guy photo. All right, let me find this stupid ass post. God, he posts so often. It might even be faster to just Google it. So it's okay, so it was from 2017. Yeah, July 2017. So He posted this photo on Instagram of him and his wife on the beach. They're standing there. He looks like a goober. His wife is very pretty. And here's what the caption says. I love this woman and her curvy body. As a teenager, I was often teased by my friends for my attraction to girls on the thicker side, ones who were shorter and curvier, girls that the average, parentheses, basic, bro might refer to as chubby or even fat. Then, as I became a man and started to educate myself on issues such as feminism and how the media marginalizes women by portraying a very narrow and very specific standard of beauty, parentheses, thin, tall, lean, I realized how many men have bought into that lie. For me, there is nothing sexier than this woman right here. Thick thighs, big booty, cute little side roll, etc. Her shape and size won't be the one featured on the cover of Cosmopolitan, but it's the one featured in my life and in my heart. There's nothing sexier to me than a woman who is both curvy and confident. This gorgeous girl I married fills out every inch of her jeans and is still the most beautiful one in the room. Guys, rethink what society has told you that you should desire. A real woman is not a porn star. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is your fucking Okay, sorry. The real woman is not a porn star or a bikini mannequin. They're not porn stars.
They are people.
Fake. Yeah. A real woman is not a porn star or a bikini mannequin or a movie character. She's real. She has beautiful stretch marks on her hips and cute little dimples on her booty. Girls, don't ever fool yourself by thinking you have to fit a certain mold to be loved and appreciated. There's a guy out there who is going to celebrate you for exactly who you are. Someone who will love you like I love my Sarah. Photo credit. I'm not going to say the person's name. But, yeah. So that was his post that made the rounds, which that post sucks a lot.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. I couldn't even get through it without criticizing it. The fact that, like, porn stars aren't real women. They don't, sex workers don't deserve respect like everybody else. But it's very clear that this post was just way more about making himself look like a hero rather than actually celebrating anything or making a point. It was just more about, like, I'm a hero for being attracted to my own wife. And it's just like, yeah, dude, you should be attracted to your wife. If not, that's probably an issue that you need to work out that I don't need to be involved in.
And he's acting like this is a unique thought.
Exactly. As
if no one in 2017 was attracted to thick girls.
Yeah, exactly. As if it weren't literally a meme by that point.
Yeah.
Like oh my God, dude, it's the fucking word. And like, it's so frustrating too that it's just, also the whole thing kind of hinges on the idea that like, all these curvy women out there, that no one loves them, that no one loves the curvy women, and that only he, a genius man, could ever possibly bring her satisfaction. And also, that's all every woman wants, is just to be appreciated by a man. That's their only goal in life. That's why they exist. That's why God made them.
That's what they need.
So that was 2017. So now, 2 years later, Robbie Tripp has released a rap song called Curvy Sexy. And it's a music video in which he, his wife, and then 2 or 3 other plus-sized women, if you will, are all hanging out at a pool. And it is one of the worst things that I have ever laid my eyes upon. I think it is worse than the Instagram post by sheer virtue of the fact that it is far more revealing about this person and his intentions.
Also, it moves.
Exactly, because it's a video, that's different. But yeah, so this dude, at least my impression from watching this video is that he just has a gainer fetish. That this guy is just attracted, he's just fetishizing overweight women. Like that's his thing, that's what gets his rocks off. Very, very clearly. You can also see that like on his Instagram feed. Going through it, it's just like, yes, that is what that is. And not...
I was going to say, not to kink shame or anything.
No, obviously
not.
Point. No. Of course not. No, if that's your shit, whatever. But it's the fact that he's dressing up this fetish of his as... He's using it to try and inflate his own ego and also make it appear as if like, oh, this is actually just for the chubby girls. This is so women can be confident. Right. And it's like, that's obviously not what it is. This is just your thinly disguised fetish in music video form. And also, I feel like it's worth pointing out that he and his wife are Mormon. And
it's definitely worth pointing out.
And had to apologize for making anti-trans comments online.
Oh, really?
Yes. So...
How long ago was that?
Not terribly long. So I think
pre-music video though.
Pre-music video, okay. Definitely pre-music video. I think they were older. I think the tweets were from before the Instagram post, but they got dug up after, and people were like, "What the fuck's up with this?" And they're just like, "Oh, we're sorry."
Turned into Muppets.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. That's actually Ray Romano, but. Yeah, it's a gross video. Just a couple lyrical highlights from it. So you have the one main chorus line. It's not on Genius? What the hell? Okay, this is genuinely funny though. So I just Google searched chubby sexy lyrics, and the first thing that comes up is an article from The Cut, or rather it's a quiz. It's like, is this a curvy wife guy song lyric or a 90s snack commercial?
Ooh.
And I think that's genuinely funny. Do you have anything? Why has no one transcribed this piece of modern art for my amusement? For my convenience, rather. Ugh. But from what I remember, it's like, she's chubby sexy. Call her Bonita Gordita.
That's correct.
Yes. Call her, just call her that. Call her Bonita Gordita. That's what everyone wants to be
Please call my wife that.
Please call my wife Bonita Gordita. I'm begging you, please. Yeah, and then I remember there was a line that was like, she's looking like a snack. I take her out to eat. And it's just like, but if she's the snack, are you taking snacks to restaurants?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of rude, too.
No, wait, you don't do that?
Take outside food to a restaurant?
Yeah, it's taken a long time before.
So you're just
like, well, they didn't bring the bread yet.
So, but like, I got this fucking chewy granola bar in my back pocket that I've sat on and is warm.
I like it warm.
Yeah, it's better that way. Yeah, chubby sexy. It's not good. Were there any other major takeaways from you other than?
I mean, in particular, his flow. Because he's rapping. This is a rap.
Yes.
I don't know if we said that yet, but this is a rap.
It's a rap from a white Mormon.
Yes, and his flow pretty much does not change the entire song.
Yeah,
it's the same flow the entire song.
Like, it is the 2019 equivalent of like the educational rap. Yeah, like that you would hear from it's like, hey there kids, let me teach you real good. Like it's that type of flow, but just the modern equivalent of that. It's very, very bad, and like the beat would be fine if it had any variation at all, which it does not. It's just kind of one like 5-second loop over and over and over and over again. Man. And like, okay, here's the other thing. Okay. So another piece of my evidence for the fact that he has a gainer fetish is at the very beginning of the track, he does a spoken word introduction, like an artist. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I know all you chubby girls get called a lot of stuff. It's like chubby or fat or BBW. And it's like, so what now? What was that? No. Nobody outside of the Pornhub search tab is using the term BBW, like out in the real world. That is a porn search term and nothing else. That's what that is.
It's definitely referencing that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other...
I don't know of anyone and see, but that's the thing though. He watches so much of that porn that he thinks that like, people just say that. People just say that to refer to thicker girls. They just say BBW. A lot of people. Well, obviously he's Mormon. But
right. I mean, there's no way, because any number of people that knew about this would have shut it down.
No, exactly. But the thing is...
This did not need to be made.
No, it didn't. But like, someone had to provide funding. Like, I don't think he's especially wealthy. Like, I know they live in Los Angeles, but like, that doesn't necessarily mean they have music video production money. And it was like...
It was well enough.
I was going to say, it was competently shot and edited. The whole thing was tasteless as hell, but at the very least, like, somebody that knows how to work a lighting rig worked on it. Somebody that knows how to use Premiere and work a camera worked on it. So like, this wasn't like they did it themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they had to somehow acquire that type of funding. So did they just save all of the money from the talk show circuit? Because that also happened. Like whenever, after the Instagram post blew up, they were on the Today Show, and they were like, yes, yeah. So he goes on the Today Show, and they're like, oh my God, you're so sweet and thoughtful and nice. And then everyone online was like, no, this dude sucks. What are you talking about? He's horrible. But he still like obviously got money for those appearances and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just took that money and said, hey, we need to create a bigger online presence.
Create a brand.
Yeah. Because the fucking Post got them enough traction to get them on TV. So
it was
if we make a music video, that's the next step in creating an internet presence.
And then also like it was enough to get him verified on Instagram,
right?
Which and he has 132,000 followers, which is really not a lot in Instagram speak, like, or at least in terms of like influencers or whatever.
I have like 9, so
yeah, I was gonna say I think I float around like 200 or something. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm any better, but just I'm capable of observing trends. So like in terms of like, oh no, it says he did a TED Talk. What was his TED Talk about? Oh, okay. Well,
that's
kids,
intriguing.
We're going on an adventure. I'm not going to watch it, but
let's find out.
Yeah, I need to know what it is. Oh my Lord. Are you shitting me? His TEDx talk is called Why Millennial Narcissists Are Changing the World.
And he's qualified to speak about this.
As a millennial narcissist, I guess. Okay, so here's what the description says. So this was published on May 11th, 2017. So this was actually before the Instagram post that he got this. So it says, millennials have long been labeled as narcissistic and entitled by older generations. But is this the simple truth, or is there something deeper past the surface? Okay, sure. Robbie Tripp, a proud millennial and passionate creative, shines a new light on this hotly debated topic and explains how both the positives and negatives of millennials are propelling a creative and free-thinking generation to change the world.
Everybody's talking about millennial narcissism.
Exactly.
You just hear it on the streets. You can't go to a Starbucks without hearing about it.
No, exactly. I was at this coffee shop the other day, this liberal coffee shop, and I heard everyone whispering about millennial narcissism. So then it says, Robbie Tripp is the author of Create Rebellion, an abstract manifesto of disruptive creativity. He lives and creates in San Francisco with his beautiful wife, Sarah. Did he write the bio himself?
Probably.
He had to have. Holy oh my God. Okay. An abstract manifesto for disruptive creativity from the curvy wife guy. That's who we're talking. Oh my God. What's going on anymore? What's happening?
I don't know, man.
Sometimes I get really frustrated at like the older generation for just like,
oh, these kids, they're dumb. We were never dumb. I was a genius my whole life, and these kids are stupid.
But then sometimes I'm like, okay, but like, what's going on though? Like, for real, somebody needs to answer for Robbie Tripp. What series of events led to Robbie Tripp? Did he have like a Batman-esque awakening where like his parents died and he's just like, I gotta create an abstract creative manifesto. Like, also I'm really horny.
Same.
Yeah, I can't say I don't relate. I can't say I don't relate on some level.
My manifesto is definitely in the works.
And it's definitely abstract.
It absolutely is.
So, hard transition. This is something I was thinking about a lot. And I think this would be a fun thing to do on the podcast going forward. We maybe don't have to do it every single episode, but I think it would be like a fun thing to do somewhat regularly.
Sure.
So I have an idea for a bit that I want to pitch to you.
Yes.
And so as I pitch this, I'm going to do some editing for the people listening to basically make this bit become a reality as I'm pitching it to you.
Okay.
So,
I think it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I think this will be fun. And if this goes well and you guys like it and you tell us that you want to hear more of it, we'll implement it more. But I think this is gonna be fun.
I've actually been thinking about something exactly like this, so I'm
cool.
hyped.
Sweet. So my bit. So it is a fake advertisement for a car dealership.
Okay.
So obviously a thing. I mean, it's a thing that's been done a lot of times. It's a pretty easy thing to parody, but I like them. I think they're effective. I think it's fun. So first of all, who's the salesman? Who's whose name is on the building?
Chris Bean.
Chris Bean.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we got Chris Bean, Chevrolet, and Honda.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
we've got that. So basically, so he would come on the mic. So it would start. You would have like the outside shot of the car dealership, and then it would hard push onto him, and he's just like, "Hi, I'm Chris Bean of Chris Bean. What do we say? Chevrolet, Honda.
Chevrolet and Honda, yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris Bean of Chris Bean Chevrolet and Honda. Come on down to Chris Bean Chevrolet and Honda. I fucked every car in this lot. I fucked the Chevrolets. I fucked the Hyundais. I fucked the Hondas. I fucked the Pontiacs.
They don't even make Pontiacs anymore.
That's fantastic.
And so just kind of going over like all the things he's done. He's just like, I fucked this one in the tailpipe. I had sex with another person in the back seat. This one, I just masturbated in the bed of the truck. I've done everything to these cars and guaranteed that it's safe.
I put this one in my ass.
Exactly. Yeah. So just that sort of extreme thing. He's fucked every car in the lot. But then he says, don't worry about getting herpes because statistically you already have it. You already have herpes. You have herpes.
You have herpes. You have herpes.
And so then it's just this horrible swelling chorus of voices going. It gets really terrifying.
Really terrifying. Just like, it's all right. You're scaring me. Yeah.
You think it's
good? Wonderful.
And then
it
ends with the TV exploding.
Great.
Explosion sound.
Cool.
There we go. We just had it.
And then we're sitting there watching the exploded TV.
Yeah, and it's like, holy shit. Does it do that every time?
You think he really put that car in his ass?
Could you put a car in your ass? You could maybe put like the seatbelt buckle in there.
Right.
But even then, that's pretty wide.
Not too wide. I think you could do it.
You could.
I mean,
if you're experienced.
Yeah.
I think if it's your first time putting something in your ass, probably not the seatbelt buckle. You could do like a car charger.
For sure.
Like that, I think you could actually, with relative ease.
Yeah. You know,
it's already got the shape and everything. Like it even has the little boop on top.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
It's got a little boop. Yeah. You wanna try it?
Want to pop outside real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go outside.
Yeah. Let's go.
It's not a huge deal.
No, I mean.
Front door. Front door.
I gotta say, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I was surprised. You were a trooper.
Yeah. I mean,
You said the seatbelt buckle wasn't gonna work.
Well, I'm a perfectionist. So if I can't half-ass anything, literally. So I need to.
You got to do the whole ass.
Exactly. I have to do the entire ass.
Right.
Well, because I can't just. I can't be satisfied with only doing something pretty well. It upsets me on a fundamental level. So I have to do it perfect.
I know this about you.
Yes. Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Exactly.
That is what you always say.
And I do like going home though.
Yeah. It's always fun. You're at a place, and then you're like,
just being able to leave.
Is it time to leave?
It's like, oh shit.
We get to go home now?
Okay.
But then there's, depending on where you are, there's the whole process of getting home, which can be worse than being at the place.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on how long it is.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like, I stay for an extra hour at work.
Right.
Like, I'm at my office job. I stay there for an extra hour because traffic is so bad, but it's just like, I'm just going to fucking chill out in the air conditioning. Like, I'll bring my Switch with me, play some fucking Pokemon or something, and then it's like, all right, well, I'm going to head out of here and have a really easy, pleasant drive home.
Right? Or if you're in a different state, right?
Oh, yeah.
And even a flight, even though that's probably shorter than driving, you get done hanging with your buddies, it's time to go home now, right?
And on the one hand, it's like, I'm going to miss my buddies, but also it's like, but I get to just be at home.
Can't wait to be in my bed,
Yeah.
And then you have to go to an airport and be in an airport, which is absolutely awful.
It's the fucking worst, dude. I can't handle airports. They stress my shit out.
Yeah, same.
I've never had a plane leave without me, but that is like a huge fear of mine. That like they're just gonna be like, sorry, you don't get to be on the plane. It's
sure.
like, but I need to be on the plane.
I have had that happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm mainly because I'm afraid that they're just gonna make me pay full price for another flight. That's the actual fear, is that there's gonna be monetary repercussions and not like, okay, we'll just put you on the next flight we can. It's just like, no, you have to give us $300. And it's like, I didn't even pay for this flight. I'm terrified.
No, they won't do that. Airports suck. Planes suck. But then finally, after,
but after all that
8-hour-long ordeal.
After 8-hour-long ordeal, then you
drive
home. It's like,
please, God.
I want this to be done. I want to be in my bed. Exactly. But then you get home, and then if you live with somebody, they want to hear all about your flight. And it's just like, it was pretty fun. You got to give them a recap of the whole trip, and it's
that
like,
you obviously really enjoyed. You got to talk about all the stuff,
Well, and see, that's the thing. Even if you did genuinely enjoy the trip, you're still just like, I don't want this right now.
Yeah. Something that I've been kind of struggling with recently with kind of my new schedule is thinking consciously at the beginning of my week, okay, when am I going to get to sit down?
Yeah.
When am I going to get to just chill and not do something that is either business related or for a purpose?
Yeah. Yeah. I have that all the time. No, I'm like, no, this past week has been like, in addition to like not having a specific thing that I really, really loved. I mean, obviously I fucking loved ARMS, but that was really more the weekend than throughout the week. But like with everything like in the news and online being super stressful. And then on top of that, like worrying about like the podcast and the video essays and all of that has just been like really fucking getting to me. It was really stressful. But yeah, having those moments of like, when can I chill? Like, when can I just not think about anything?
And you definitely have to carve out time for that. You've got to figure something out.
Yeah. And we talked about it on this podcast, but like, if you take the time to actually just decompress and relax, you will be more productive otherwise. So
Absolutely.
it is super, super important to take breaks. Actually, Junji Ito, he is a wonderful, wonderful manga artist. Do you know about this dude?
No.
So he's been doing manga for a really long time. He does horror manga, and it's awesome. It's so
Nice.
cool. Like, it is like some of the like scariest stuff I've
Sick.
seen. It rules. Junji Ito is awesome. But I think it was like he was at a con or something, and he was doing a panel, and people were asking him questions, and I believe it was here in America, and someone was translating for him. But he basically was like, "Hey, please get some sleep. Just make sure you go to sleep." A lot of manga artists die young because they're just overworked themselves and they don't sleep enough. So yeah, please make sure you get some sleep. It's really important. It's more important than manga. Like,
Right.
just whatever you
Yeah,
like.
your health is definitely.
Exactly. It's more important than your work. Like, just
Well,
take care of
you're-
yourself.
Yeah, you're like you said, you're more productive whenever you're healthy.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, and that was actually something echoed by kind of an interesting way. Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie. It was a while ago, he did. I think it was for Pitchfork or something, but he basically ranked all of the Death Cab albums. And in that, somewhere in there, he was. I think he was talking about transatlanticism. I think when he was basically just like, yeah, I was like, that was like kind of the best time of my life, was because he did that and the first only postal service record at the same time. And he was basically just like, yeah, he's like, a lot of people say like, oh, you can only make great art when you exist in turmoil, or like when you're depressed or whatever. And he's like, but no, that's not true at all.
not
He's like,
true. That's dumb to
like,
say
yeah.
you can only make great art through turmoil. It's
Yeah, he's
dumb
like, it's really,
thing to
he's
say.
like, no, he's like, it's not true at all. He's like, you do your best work when you're healthy and when you're well rested and when you have everything under control. Like, that's when you make your best stuff. And yes, I have made some art and like written some songs and stuff that I look back on and I'm still pretty proud of whenever I was not in a great place in my life. But I know like the stuff I've been making more recently, now that I've been like in therapy and taking care of myself better, like is just better. Like I feel way more creative and am more willing to try out new ideas, but also not afraid to not push myself too hard. And yeah, like I know that my work just comes out better as a result.
For sure. At the same time, some really great work has definitely come from turmoil
Yes,
and sadness
absolutely,
and hurt and stuff like that. So it's not to discount
Yes.
to say either one is
Yes, and this
an
is not to say that
absolute.
you should never use art as catharsis, because it can often be the most effective way of dealing with and processing emotions, is to be able to get it out in the form of creativity. Not saying that no one should ever do that, of course, but it is dangerous to begin thinking that you can't do it without
Absolutely.
those feelings.
Absolutely.
It is nuanced, but it is very important.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the point that I was going to make, is that it's a definitely dangerous territory to get into if you think that the only way that you will be able to create good art is if you have difficulties or trials in your
Yeah.
life to pull from. 'Cause then people start creating problems for themselves. Right.
Yeah, exactly. There's the Touche Amore track on Is Survived By.
It's hard to write content.
Yes, exactly. One of my favorite songs by them, if not my favorite. He's just like, will the words still come? Like, if I'm not in a terrible place, it's like, now that I'm actually feeling better, like, am I not going to be able to write the sad songs that are going to move units and make kids on Tumblr really emotional and
Right.
excited? Like, if I'm not in that terrible place anymore, am I actually going to be able to keep doing that? And obviously, he has proven, yes, he
Right.
is going to be able to keep doing that, because Touche Amore has continued to make great music since then.
100%. I think another thing that's really important is, and something that I hadn't really looked at, is that recently I've been taking on a lot of stuff because it's stuff that I want to do and that I know is productive in my life and that I know is making my life better. But I kind of keep coming to these opportunities
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh, I really want to do that thing too, or I want to start this project, or I want to start
Yeah.
this project. And it's getting absolutely to the point where I'm filling my time so much with these things that I know are things that I want to do and could be productive for my life. But I don't have time to do it all and still be healthy and happy and carve out that time. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and it's because you run into the danger of getting to the point where, okay, I want to do all of these things, but you end up taking time away from some of the early. It's like, okay, like I want to do a podcast, and also I want to start a web series, and also I want to start writing short stories. And it's just like, okay, if you take on all of that, it's like, oh, well, it's like, I know I need to edit this podcast, but also I need to get the short story done.
Right,
So like
for sure.
they start cutting into each other's time, and that's not good either, because then not only are you not resting, but
on
yeah,
either
like
one.
the time that your work needs is not being adequately provided.
Right. That's something that I've been trying to look at more this week too, is going, okay, look, stop taking on more stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And it's dumb little things. The other day, I was sitting there going, you know what? I really want to make my own kombucha. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been, wanting to do for a while.
Yeah.
And I had the thought the other day again, and I was like, but dude, can you handle
Yeah, making kombucha.
making kombucha on top
else.
of everything that you're doing
Yeah.
right now? You know what I mean? And so those are the things. And I'm having to look at this and say, okay, so what of this do I need?
Yeah, exactly.
And so kombucha was not on that list.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It didn't make it to the top of that list.
Yeah.
So
Because it's not as if the only way to get kombucha is to make it yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it would be a fun hobby.
No,
and I'm
it would
really
be
interested
super
in doing it.
cool.
And I hope that I do
No,
take
I
the
hope
time
you
to
do
do
too.
that one
Yeah.
day, because I really enjoy kombucha. It makes me happy.
Yeah, dude.
And
I would love to. And you're a very good cook. You're good at making shit. Last week when we were hanging out, you made those fucking chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
That were awesome.
Yeah,
Those
very
whipped
good.
ass.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is cooking is one of those things that has fallen lower on that list.
Yeah.
Now that I do it for a living.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. It's like you're still getting in your cooking fix, but it's not as enjoyable because it's not for you and your friends. And it's
And
just
then-
like,
right.
I'm doing this because I have to. And it's also like, I like making tacos. I don't want to only make tacos.
Right, for sure. And that has removed that from
Yeah.
my outside time, and that's no longer really a hobby. Not nearly as much as it was before I started doing it for a living. I do still do it though, and it's really wonderful whenever I do, because
Yeah.
making my own food at home is significantly more fulfilling than
Yeah.
cooking for a restaurant.
Oh no, absolutely. I wish I could enjoy cooking. Like it's one of those things that like my mom is an amazing cook.
It's
and
truly not for everybody.
Yeah, my mom has always loved it, and it's been like a huge part of my upbringing was her cooking. But like for me doing it, like and again, like I mentioned it jokingly earlier, but it's quite true. Like I am a hardline perfectionist, and so like whenever I try to make something and it doesn't turn out perfect, I just get really angry. And so it's just really like cooking is super frustrating for me because I can't make it the way. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you don't have the skill set. You haven't
learned
learned
exactly.
it, you know what I mean?
And so it's ridiculous for me to assume that I would be able to make something
just without
perfectly.
having anybody
Exactly.
tell you or teach you anything.
Exactly,
that
which
you
is-
would suddenly just be able to make pasta sauce from scratch.
No,
or
exactly.
whatever.
Which is it actually
And then
why
it
I would
wouldn't take you trying it multiple times
Yeah.
for you to be able
eventually
to
get good at it. Yeah. And so like for me, and that's actually why I really hate the word talented, and I try not to call people talented, because if you call someone skilled, it's acknowledging that they had to work to get to that level. Whereas when you say someone's talented, it generally means, oh, they just have this innate ability to do this
right.
thing without practice. And like that was if you want to get real deep here, that's a thing that like fucked me up my entire childhood, was
Okay.
constantly being told I was talented, because it made it seem, it basically tricked me into thinking that I wasn't practicing all the time and that I wasn't working to improve constantly, which I was because of my perfectionistic nature.
Right.
But because I was told I was talented, I just kind of convinced myself like, oh, all the time I spend practicing is just kind of for me, but that's not actually why I'm good. I'm good because I am talented.
Well, I think it's for you in particular. It's definitely a combination of both things.
perhaps
I think you have.
perhaps to
I
an
mean,
extent,
you know,
but nonetheless though, but it's still
that's not to discount the time and effort that you've put in it all.
Right.
It's just to say that I do think that you have a natural inclination towards and understanding of
certain things. Yes.
certain things.
To an extent, but nonetheless, I did still spend so much of my time like practicing
Right.
drums and practicing
Right.
music stuff until I eventually got to where I am now.
Yeah,
And I still
for
wouldn't
sure.
even
No.
say I'm like amazing or anything, but it's not even the
Well,
point,
it doesn't
but, like,
come without practice, no matter what.
Exactly. But yeah, being told that I was talented, I mean, it's sort of, I mean, you see this online a lot about people talking about like the gifted kid syndrome, where it's just like, you were told you were gifted, you're told that you were talented.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, you assumed that like you were the type of person that didn't really have to work at or practice anything, even though you were doing it the whole time, but you were just kind of convincing yourself that you weren't and that it was just this natural thing.
Right.
And so then there's the constant fear of like, what if I lost it? Like, what if it's just gone now? So that's been like a thing my entire life. That's been like this driving force of like, rather, it's a big part of why I'm such a perfectionist. I have to get this thing right, and I have to get it right the first time. And so it's like difficult for me to accept that sometimes things take a lot of practice, and that it's not always going to be perfect. In fact, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be the first time.
For sure.
There was I think we talked about them a little bit last episode, but there's an episode of Brome, another podcast that we both enjoy, where someone basically, and this is not like unique to them, but this is just where I heard it, was anything that's worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Yes, I thought that was a really great point.
Yes, yeah, and there's definitely something like, for a lot of people, they don't really need to hear that because a lot of people already understand that. But for people like me that were raised in such a way or just heard like you're so talented and shit in their upbringing, like it is really important to be able to hear like it's fine to do something not perfect. Like it's fine to like try and make grilled cheese and it turn out like shit.
Right.
Like it's fine. It doesn't. It is okay.
For sure,
which
absolutely.
I think is, which is a really nice sentiment. And it made me feel good to hear that. It's just like, not only is that a good reminder, but it's like, okay, the way I think is being taken seriously, and it's not being dismissed as, oh, you're just too perfectionistic, or you're just this thing. You can fix it by flipping a switch.
Right.
Which is just people not understanding mental health and trying to diagnose things that they don't understand. But yeah, I felt seen is
right.
Which of course is SCENE. I felt very seen.
Always.
But also seen as in viewed.
Yeah, obviously, your perfectionist tendencies aren't going to be solved in an overnight thing.
No, and I don't think they'll ever completely go away, but I have been trying to get better at managing it.
Maybe something like cooking and taking on a single project, not, okay, well, I'm going to get into cooking now.
Yeah.
It's maybe I'm going to get into making one thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into making a great grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Fucking bread, American cheese, butter. I'm going to perfect that right there. You know what I mean? And because it's so low stakes, doing that over and over again, you know what I mean? Or whatever, may even benefit you,
for sure.
You just fucking up or whatever, kind of training that, like you said, it's okay to do it poorly,
Yeah.
Where, with your music, not that, whenever you write a thing, it doesn't take you several tries to get it's kind of the same idea, right? That it's totally okay to have several takes until you get the thing right. You know what I mean?
And it's funny too, because it's like, I can accept it when I know it's part of the process beforehand. Like, I talked about this in my Sekiro video about how the game lets you know right away that you're going to die a lot.
Right.
Like literally, and there was actually something, so our friend George, hey George, he, in our group chat, he said he tried to play Sekiro, couldn't get into it because they did the thing that Final Fantasy IX did where there's the first boss fight that you're supposed to lose. And he's like, I hate when games do that. And I was just like, no, it's like, no, you got to understand in that context, it's so perfect because that's them literally letting you know you are going to die a lot. Like if you felt like hot shit by getting through that first section relatively easily, you're probably a few flubs here or there, but it's like, okay, this is kind of tough, but like, I think I've got a good handle on this combat system. It's like, do you though? Do you have a good handle on this guy? All right, face this guy. And you really, really fuck up. Like that's them letting you know, like from a gameplay standpoint, you're going to die a lot, and it's fine. It is fine if you die. That is expected of you. That's part of this game experience. But also on top of that, it ties into the story because you come back to life, and that's the whole thing with Sekiro is the blood making you resurrect, and that ties into the whole plot of the game going forward and also ties into the gameplay. It's really good and smart, and Sekiro is awesome. But whenever I play Sekiro, I don't get like really frustrated that I'm not doing it perfectly and that I'm not nailing every single encounter because it makes it so incredibly clear. Like, yeah, dude, it's about the learning experience. It's not necessarily about getting it right. All of this is to say, yeah, if I know it's part of the process, then it doesn't bother me. But it's like when it's not made explicitly clear that fucking up a lot is part of it or is fine, I convince myself that if a pro were watching me, they would be like laughing at me. And I know that's a ridiculous thing to think, but that's just like, yeah, that's just the way.
I get that for sure.
That's the way I've been wired since I was a fucking kid.
The thing is this has nothing to do with your talent level or your skill
obviously,
level, right? Some pro may fucking laugh at you.
Yeah.
But that dude is an asshole.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's
not
that person's own cognitive distortions and their own skewed worldview and them.
For sure.
It doesn't really have anything to do with you.
whenever I came into cooking as a profession, I had been, I guess you would say, a home cook for a while. I've been cooking for a while, right? So I did have a level of knowledge. My dad did a really good job of teaching me a lot of things. Well, I did a lot of research on my own.
Yeah, and like when we were in high school and stuff, like you were cooking stuff pretty frequently.
I've been in the kitchen since I was young, for sure. So I had a level of understanding, but not a professional level at all. And whenever I say professional, I don't mean
like Gordon Ramsay
chef.
or anything.
No, I mean,
you just mean like being able to work in a kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of learning for me to do whenever I got there.
Yeah.
And I was very afraid, and it's dumb because it's a kitchen job, right?
Well, yeah.
But that was because it's something that I'm passionate about, right?
Yeah.
But I was afraid that whenever I got there would be these people that I saw as really great cooks, and they would see me, and they would do that they would laugh or whatever. But my experience was really exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
In that industry, you don't have a lot of people that actually care about that job at all. It's just
especially
a paycheck. It's just it's whatever. This is the only way that I can make this much money, so this is my job, and I've been doing it for X amount of years or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
that's most of the people in the industry.
Yeah,
at this level,
most people that are working in the kitchen at Panera are not trying to work their way up to be professional cooks.
Right, for
Some
sure.
of them might be,
or
but
even
certainly not all of them.
the same at Firebirds. You know what I mean? And it's not to say anything bad about these people.
No, but that's just not what they are.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they surely have passions and other interests, and then it is just a paycheck.
Which is and this is not not at all to say anything bad about the other people that aren't taking it super seriously.
No, right.
Like,
and
no,
it's
get your money any way
probably
you
dumb
can,
of me to be taking a job like that super seriously, except for it's just what I am interested in. And so I saw it as learning opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so the people, you know, the chefs and the cooks that were passionate about cooking still saw that I cared about cooking.
Yeah, and you wanted to
itself.
do it as well as you could.
Right. And so they were willing to teach me things. They would pull me aside to teach me these things because they knew that I cared about it, where you wouldn't do that with somebody who is just coming in to work their shift and leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I didn't care to learn how to cook better, I wouldn't be in a kitchen. I would be at a much lower stress job, ideally. You know what I mean? But I care to learn how to do this better, and that's why I chose to go and do that. And so, kind of going back, there's going to be some professionals that are just assholes that are going to stand behind you and see what you're doing and laugh. But I would say a good majority are going to be people that look at you and say, this person really cares about this art and this work.
Yeah.
And has a skill level. There's something that can be
for sure there.
here.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, I have a tendency to think that, I mean, and it's really easy to get this way, which is like whenever you live in the internet age like we do, and especially people our age that were kind of raised on like early online shit, like it's really easy to think that people are generally much shittier than they actually are. The average person that you encounter in your everyday life is probably kind. There are a lot of shitbags out there. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying
it's confirmed.
Exactly.
Lots of shitbags.
I'm not saying white supremacy is suddenly gone, but what I am saying is that more often than not, if you encounter a person in your at your job, they're probably fine, or at the very least normal. They're probably not a fucking psycho. They have their own shit and they have their own baggage and they have things that they struggle with and need to work on, just like you and everybody else. But again, that's just like you and everybody else.
Exactly. It's really easy to practice a certain level of selective empathy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can be empathetic towards your friends, right?
Yes.
You know, oh, you had a bad day. Oh, I'm going to understand that. Towards your significant other, towards even coworkers, maybe, that you're more familiar with, right?
Exactly.
It's easy to be empathetic towards these people that you have a relationship with, and you've selected to say, okay, I understand you, right?
Yeah,
and
but
I
it's
empathize with you.
harder to do that to strangers.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, like,
or even just the person who's being a dick to you.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes, that it's harder to not preemptively view them as the enemy.
Exactly. Even if it is your significant other or your friend, or whatever,
sometimes that happens. Yeah,
it's really easy to lose that empathy as soon as
as that switch flips.
Right. Yeah, just being kind of aware of your reaction and actions as well, because you don't know what you may have done that could have triggered whatever reaction, you know what I mean? And especially on this specific day, it's like, you know what, like, I really hate the way that you fucking say this thing, and I had a bad day, and then you said the thing that I hate, and so now I'm gonna,
like, even on a normal day, even if you don't like that generally, it would bother you way more because of other circumstances.
Which could just be the thing, you know? So, but everybody's going through shit right now. I think that's something that we can definitely see from the internet. It's super obvious. Well, everybody's going through some shit.
Yeah, and that's not, again, not to say that that's only happening now, because everyone's going through stuff all the time, but...
it's just blatantly obvious.
It's blatantly obvious, largely because people value authenticity, and that's what people look for in like their content online. Like the tweets that go viral are usually relatable, and that's why, because it's like, oh, I recognize myself in that. I'm gonna favorite and retweet. So, I mean, that's just kind of how it all works, is people look for things they recognize, people value authenticity, and that's why people call back, only listen, they more likely to stream songs they've heard before rather than
for sure, man,
new songs.
I've listened to the Friends theme song 6 times this week.
Is that true?
No.
I was gonna say, is it actually a good song, like outside of the little window that we get for the Friends theme?
I mean, it doesn't get any better.
Okay. I'm just terrible at keeping up with people.
I was gonna say, it's hard.
Just in general.
Everybody's got so much going on.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
And I don't hold anybody responsible for that kind of thing either. You know?
No, my biggest fear is, so like I don't hold anybody responsible if they like don't get back to me about something or just generally bad and keep in touch, because it's like, oh dude, I'm probably worse than you at this. But I am always afraid
you're not doing enough.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid that I'm being held to the standard to which I'm not holding other people. Yeah. Like I'm afraid that people will look at me and be like, oh, like you fucking hate me, or like you're a shitty friend because you don't text often, or you're like a bad son. And it's like, texting stresses me out. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like I don't like doing it.
No, I get that too. And no, I've got a lot of love for people that I haven't talked to in months, you know?
And I think probably everyone listening has a similar experience, or maybe even longer than that. Like again, like I have good friends that I haven't spoken to in months, or even like I don't think I've spoken to Jeter in years. Like really? for like in particular,
man, I couldn't pinpoint the last time.
Yeah, so, I couldn't either. Same with like Jacob and Andrew. Like, I haven't talked to those dudes in terribly long. They're great. I hope they're all doing well.
I was gonna say, if there's any way that any of these people, Tim and Katie, you know, all the Texas friends and family and everybody, if there's anybody here listening, we love you. Yeah, absolutely.
So much. We're just horrible at staying in touch because texting kind of stresses my shit out. And phone calls are just, it's like, get on the call, I'm fine. Yeah. But it's like, when I initially see it on the screen, it's like, you disrupted the whatever I was looking at, this stupid Tumblr post. Now I've got to do something else.
Yeah, for sure. I really think that it's not unreasonable to not be able to keep up with every single person.
One of the things they don't really tell you about adulthood whenever you're younger is, so they obviously tell you like, oh, you'll lose touch with like some of your best friends, and you're like, I'll never do that. And then you're like, oh wait, I learned. Right. But it's not really that simple. It's not so simple as, oh, you just lose touch, but it's that the quantity of people in your life increases because you move to a new city, you get a new job, like you go to school at a new place, whatever it is, like more people just come into your life that are all valuable and all important and all have perspectives from which you can learn and use to grow. But it's just at a certain point, like quantity is hard to keep up with.
Yeah, there's so many people.
More and more variables get added on as you progress. Like that's just kind of what the life experience is. It's just like, all right, you could handle this thing. Now let's see how you can do this thing. And sometimes it's too much and it sucks. But basically, you're not a bad friend. Like, to anyone listening, if you feel like you're a bad friend or a bad daughter or whatever, because you can't keep up, you're not the only one struggling, and you are doing just fine. You're probably okay. You are probably well liked, unless you're not. And I don't know the difference. So maybe who knows?
Right.
That seems like as good a place as any to stop. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Let us know what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. Also, hit up our Patreon if you want to support this and the music and the video essays and all the other fun shit we're doing. As cheap as $1 a month. You can basically get these episodes early. You can get video essays early. You get music early, and you also get to join the Discord server, which is fun. There's a lot of neat people in there that I think are generally very kind and understand a lot of stuff really well.
There's one asshole though.
There's one,
so just don't.
And I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
Yeah, just don't talk to him.
Yeah, or her, or them. whichever one. We're trying to obscure it as much as this is a bit. I don't think there's one particular asshole in there, unless there is.
If you think it's you, it's you.
I was gonna say, what if it's me? Like, what if I'm the asshole in the Discord server? Oh man. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.